Hey everybody, Greg Casillo here doing another Lightroom video for Fro Knows Photo. Guess what? It's Wednesday and we are going to go over sharpening in Lightroom 3. This is something that not a lot of people do, not a lot of people know a lot about, and so I want to really try and just give you a basic education on how stuff works, what all the sliders do, and actually work on the toughest image, which is a portrait. Now I have this great portrait of Caitlin that I had done earlier this year, probably about 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and so it needs a little bit of sharpening, as every image needs sharpening. Any image that comes out of a digital camera or scanner needs to be sharpened. There's no way around it. Everything needs to be sharpened. I'm going to talk about these sliders right here and go over those and tell you about what each one of them does. Alright, and it should give you a little better understanding of how to use them, when to use them, that kind of thing. Number one with sharpening, whether you're doing it in Photoshop, whether you're doing it in Lightroom, is you have to zoom in. You cannot do any of your sharpening if you're not zoomed in to 100% or even a little farther than that. You got to zoom in. Alright, I'm going in to 200%, 2 to 1, as you see right here, because I want to give you a little bit better idea of what I'm doing. When I was at 1 to 1 and tried it, I didn't think you were able to see quite as much detail and see it quite as well. So I'm going to go to 2 to 1 just so you see it. 1 to 1 usually works. A lot of times though, if I'm doing a portrait, I like to see it at 2 to 1. So that's kind of a preference thing, but for a portrait like this, 2 to 1 is going to work for me very well. All right. Number one, we have 4 of these. Obviously, we're in the develop module, and we go down and we expand detail. All right, this little box right here will allow you to pinpoint a little area, and actually, I can see that it defaults at 1 to 1, so that's nice. So I can actually see it 2 times now, at 1 to 1 and at 2 to 1. All right, so that's what that box does. Now, amount slider is exactly that. It's the amount of sharpening that you're applying. So when we turn this up a lot, it's going to sharpen it a lot. Now, one other thing I need to really make you understand is sharpening or the unsharp mask, any of those are not a replacement for not having a sharp image in the first place. You can't fix a photo that you didn't shoot sharp with the lens, with the camera. It's not the same. That's not what sharpening is for. Sharpening is for increasing contrast, to make the image look good, to improve the image, not to fix a poorly photographed image. So just get that clear. Now, the slider is, like I said, the amount. Alright, so for this purpose, what I'm actually looking at is the eyelashes. That's what we want in a portrait. The eyelashes, the hair, the lips, stuff like that, that's what we want sharp. We don't want the skin to be sharpened. Alright, so I'm going to leave this somewhere in here. This is kind of one of those season to taste kind of things, so that definitely makes a difference. If you want a little bit more, a little bit less, whatever, that's where you're at. Radius, okay? Radius is how wide the sharpened pattern is, or the width of the halos that the mask produces. Alright, as you see, the halos themselves get smaller, alright, and here they get bigger. You can see a little bit more here in the lips, alright, and as we bring that down, the edges are accentuated a lot more, and the halo gets a lot bigger around the lips there. Alright, so that's what that's for. Now, I think I want to be somewhere in this area for this image. Now, detail. The first 2 are for adding sharpening. Let me step back. These 2 are for adding sharpening, amount and radius. And then these 2 down here are for removing sharpening. Alright, detail and masking. They will not necessarily remove it. I shouldn't say remove it. I should say mask it, or pull away in certain areas. So in the detail, it suppresses the halos effect from the radius in certain areas. Now, with all of these, and I'm not telling you this on purpose, you can hit the Alt key on a PC, okay, and you can bring up this grayscale view. Now the great thing about the grayscale view is that you can really see exactly what's going on, and it just gives you a better representation. Now I am just going to leave this at about 5, I think, and I think that's a good amount for there. Now again, that detail is suppressing the halos from the radius, which is this one, and the radius is how wide that thing gets. Okay, it's how wide everything gets, how wide that pattern is, that kind of thing. Now the detail again is starting to remove it, starting to mask it, and so we're now going to go to the mask. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention: the higher the detail means the radius and the amount will be showing through. Okay, so as we push this up here, you can see more of the amount and radius are showing. Okay, so that means that it's more or less more sharpening or less of a mask, less of a filter is another good way to put it. All right, but as we bring this down, we're actually decreasing the volume of the sharpening, just like you would be turning down the volume on your stereo. Same idea. All right, now the masking is working the same way as a filter, removing some of that, but it's a different way of masking what you don't want to be sharpened, and it's just it affects different areas. And when we go into this view again by hitting the Alt key on the PC, I think it's the option on the Mac, we can really start to mask this even more and make sure. I'm going to pop in and out here a few times. Make sure that now only the eyes, the lips, the eyelashes, the hair are being sharpened. Okay? So increasing that is going to make sure that the skin stays soft. As you see it, look at the skin right here. Look, you can see your pores there. Okay, because it's being sharpened. If we bring this up, okay, as you see, it's black right in that cheek area. Okay, that means nothing's happening. Okay, and it means it's not being sharpened. But yet the eyes and the nose and her nose ring and her hair are all still being sharpened. That's what we want. All right, that's what we want. Now, the proof is in the pudding here, and we're at the end. So this is our sharpened image, and this is our original. Now, to me, that definitely makes a big difference. Her eyes pop just a little bit more. It's very subtle. It doesn't need much. You have just a little bit in the lips. You know, maybe I need to do this a little hastily, and I could use a little bit, maybe a hair more sharpening here or there. You can apply it locally if you want in Lightroom, just to eyes, just to lips. But this is a good way to get you started. Get yourself kind of a preset. Apply it to a lot of things. It's probably going to be different in different types of lighting, so do keep that in mind. Alright, so this has been another Lightroom video for Fro Knows Photo and Greg Cazillo. You can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Cazillo, and I will work on another video. I got a really cool one coming up soon, and you'll be seeing that very soon. So again, Greg Cazillo for FroKnowsPhoto.com. One more Lightroom 3 video in the can. See ya.
Hey ladies, get your shirt.